In this video, I'm going to walk through installing the 365 Pro Toolkit and then walking through the interface and some of its settings. So the toolkit, you can install it on a Windows client computer, Windows 10, 11, or you can put it on a server. If you've bought a multi-license, purchase a multi-user license, you'd probably want to put it on a server. That way you can have just one install and control access. But once you get it downloaded, just click on the installer. There's no prerequisites that you need to install. Everything is built into the installer here. So it's literally just next, accept license, next, install, and then it goes through and runs the install. I'll pause some of these screens, but they're pretty fast. And while this is running, the toolkit, we don't collect, store any of your tenant information. It's all, you install it on your computers and it connects to your tenant and downloads it onto your systems. Nothing is sent back to our servers. The only thing it connects to our servers for is licensing. But if you're doing a trial, then it doesn't do any of that. Starting services could take 30 seconds or so. It's in the background, it's completing some task like creating the local database, so that takes a few seconds. Okay, once it's complete, you'll get a shortcut on your desktop, and you can also go ahead and click finish to launch it from here. So the first time it launches, you're going to get this little connect screen. So you're going to want to click connect to connect to your Microsoft 365 tenant, and this uses all Microsoft's authentication. Again, we're not storing your username or passwords, so it's just all going through Microsoft 365 through your tenant. So once it connects, it's then going to go through the set it up connection wizard. So it's going to create an app registration in your tenant. It's going to grant the permissions, and then once that's done, it's going to go to step 2 and start the sync process. So here's the little sync wizard. So it's gonna connect and sync your users, groups, and a whole bunch of other information down to the database on your computer. That way it makes all of the reports really fast, and that way we can generate the dashboards. So I've got 11,000 users in my tenant, so this takes a couple of minutes, but if you've got a small tenant, this could go really quick. But once users and groups are done, it's gonna this go to reports button will be activated. Then you can go ahead and go to the reports, and the rest of this stuff will sync in the background. And then once the initial sync is done, there is a sync manager that runs on a schedule, so it keeps all of your information locally synced. So like the users and groups will sync like every 30 minutes, and some of these other ones that don't update often update like once a day. So it'll start giving you a progress so you can see how many users it's completed. It goes pretty fast once it gets started. So my users and groups are done. Now it's started the other syncs, but you can see I can now jump to reports. I'll just go ahead and let these finish because they'll finish pretty quickly. Okay, sync is done. I'll click go to reports. And it's going to take me right into the user reports. But I'm going to jump over to settings just to walk through some of these settings. So connection shows you your tenant information. You can click add tenant to add additional tenants. And then the SharePoint, OneDrive, and advanced features. So if you want to manage OneDrive, and then there's some SharePoint reports that require some additional API permissions. So if you need those, just click enable SharePoint. We'll go to users. So this is where you can give role-based access. So it's going to give the person that installed it the owner access, and then if you bought 3 license, 5 license, or a site license, you can add more people to have access to this program. So you just come up in here, type the name, and then I would click whatever role I want them to have, and you can see the descriptions of the roles. So if I want this person to just have access to reports, I give them the report access only. So then when that user logs into this app, all they would have access to is the report section. They wouldn't have access to tools or settings. Same thing with some of these other roles. So if I gave somebody a mailbox role, they would just have access to tools, mailboxes. They wouldn't have access to licensing groups, and so on. So email server, so if you want to set up automated emails, you configure your email server. Logs, this is just an activity log. Some database information. So this will show you how big your local database is, how long to keep these sign-in logs, and you can back up this database SSL. So if you want to enable HTTPS, you just do that here. And then if you purchase a license, this is where you would activate your license. So let's jump back to some of the other features here. So dashboard, there's a bunch of dashboards. Overview just gives you an overview of your environment. Most of these are clickable, so if you click one, it'll go directly to that report. Let's see, enterprise apps. So this will give you a breakdown of all of the apps that you have configured, enabled in your tenants. And again, some of these high-level KPI buttons here, cards, are clickable. So I can click on this and it goes to the report. So licensing dashboard gives you an overview of your licensing, logon summary, MFA overview, OneDrive, security, and your SharePoint dashboard. So those are the dashboards. I'm sure we'll be adding more tools. So you can manage users from here. I click on users. There is some actions here. So you can do a new user, you can bulk update, you can find stale accounts, you can offboard users. If I wanted to see cloud only, I just click this box. And then I can do a search to filter. I'll pull up Jim Halpert. And then you can see all kinds of stuff here. I can edit the accounts by clicking the little pencil icons. I can manage groups from here, licenses. I get MFA details. I can do mailbox management from here. So here's all mailbox information. You can see all these actions I can do. OneDrive. So if I enabled the additional permissions, I could do some OneDrive management from here as well. So a lot of these are similar. So groups, I can manage my groups. I can do some license management from here. I can manage mailboxes, some OneDrive management, and Teams management. So all of these management sections are designed the same. You've got a list of your accounts, and then over on the right, you've got actions that you can do. You can also double click on them to pull up the individual accounts. So reports, there's tons of reports, and you can see they're all categorized. They can all be customized. So you just drill down to whatever reports you want. I'll go to all users, and they load super fast. You can see that's 11,000 users that loaded in like a second. So I can customize these reports by clicking on columns, and then I can add, remove whatever columns I want. You can also export the reports. If there are columns missing, please email support, and we can add those for you. Columns can be filtered, so if I wanted to see all licensed users, I could just filter on this column. Some columns have buttons or little slide out, so if I wanted to see what this user is a member of, I could click that to see the slide out. But tons of reports. There's group reports, group membership reports. So if I wanted to see all groups and all the members of them, let's click on group members. A bunch of exchange reports, devices, licensing, OneDrive, security reports, admins, MFA reports, passwords never expired, different roles, SharePoints. So you can see SharePoint members, SharePoint permissions, sign-on reports, and enterprise app reports. And then here is the sync manager. So again, after your initial sync, everything will sync on a schedule. And if you wanted to do a quick real-time sync on something, you could come in here and say maybe I wanted to update my users. I could click this refresh button to instantly refresh them. But you can see the schedule on everything when they last updated. And then the scheduler. So if you wanted to schedule reports, say you wanted to get a list of all users created in the last 7 days and have that emailed to you every morning, you could come in here, click new schedule, and fill this out. Just select whatever reports you wanted. So here's inactive users. daily, whatever frequency you want, and then whoever you want that to be emailed to. There's also up here, there's a dark mode. So if you wanted to switch into dark mode, just click that button. This shows you who's logged in and what role you have. And then if there's any ever updates to the app, they'll pop up here with a little button that says there's an update, and you click it and you download it. So, and then with it being browser based, you could access, you could put this on a server, and then you could have all your users of the app just point to this to the URL of the server. So if I got this on PC2, so then if I would just give PC2, then whatever your internal domain is, like that, factorypro.com. I can just give this and access the application, on remote computers. So that is an overview of how to install it, how to get started, an overview of the interface, and we'll frequently update this app. So you can check the version down here in the lower left-hand corner. You should get pop-ups when there's updates. And if you got problems or issues, please send an email to support@activedirectorypro.com. Thanks.